Hello, everyone. Welcome to Building for Mobile. We're going to talk today about optimizing your QuickBase apps for mobile users. First off, I'm Jonathan Williamson. Hi, welcome to Virtual Empower. And I'm a senior software engineer at QuickBase. And a fun fact about me is I helped build the online and mobile ordering experience for Chili's. So I know many people have tried delivery and pickup now more than ever before. So if you have ordered from Chili's, let me know. Let me know if you like it or don't like it, but I was heavily involved there. So a couple quick housekeeping items for this talk. We are here, so this is a virtual recorded session, but myself and my colleagues are available on chat throughout the presentation. So if you have any questions, I won't be able to stop the presentation, but at the end, I'll leave time to talk through Q&A. And if you chat, we can help you with any technical problems you have, or if you just want to say hi, and then we'll have that live Q&A at the end. And just a quick reminder, review this session either while it's happening or when it's over. We'll post a link for that in the chat as well. So our agenda for today, why are we here? So we'll first talk about our mobile philosophy, then we'll jump into why build for mobile. Why do we even have this session? And then we'll talk about 3 specific ways you can build for mobile: forms, dashboards, and reports, and I can customize those for mobile use cases. Then we'll end up with what's new with mobile. We'll get to share a few of our exciting updates that we've had since last Empower with the mobile team. And then we'll talk about the future. What does the next year and beyond hold for the mobile team and mobile QuickBase? So what this session is about is stepping into the shoes of your users, creating successful apps that people want to use on mobile, and finding best practices and tips for building mobile optimized apps. Some of our goals here are to give everyone involved a user-centric mindset. And what that means is while you're building apps, you're not only thinking of how am I going to use this, you're going to be thinking of how are my users going to use this app. And we're going to give everyone who leaves this session full confidence to build apps that work great on mobile. So starting out, our mobile philosophy at QuickBase. We've broken it down into 4 core tenets, and the first one is instantly ready. And what we mean by this is that QuickBase Mobile is instantly available to any builder who creates an app on QuickBase. There's no creating of a mobile app. There's no figuring out which pages go where or how the navigation works. It just perfectly blends from your desktop QuickBase experience into a mobile app. It's pretty exciting because you basically get a mobile app for free included with your plan, and it's like having a little mobile dev team in your pocket that instantly makes a mobile app. We're very excited about that. And with that, we say that QuickBase Mobile is always within reach. So traditionally, if you're using QuickBase on the desktop, you have to have your laptop with you. You have to have an internet connection. You have to have kind of your full work set up. But with QuickBase Mobile, we want to help you access QuickBase on the go. So you want to peek into real-time processes or find out, did my workers complete this task, or did so-and-so put in their timesheet? You can open your phone, whether you're in the car, the hotel, you're in the field doing an inspection, all of that, you can still access the power of QuickBase. And that leads us to more power. So we're constantly updating the mobile experience to not just be a portable version of QuickBase, but also be an enhanced version of QuickBase for mobile use cases. And an example of that would be barcode scanning, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the presentation. But for example, barcode scanning allows people to scan physical devices in their workplace or in their inspection location and link physical barcodes to records within their QuickBase app. And lastly, we want to give you freedom to optimize. So this is kind of the converse of instantly ready, where we give you a lot included and fully baked right out of the box, but then we want to give all of our builders freedom to optimize the mobile experience for their use case and for their business. So why build for mobile? In 2019, mobile devices accounted for approximately half of all the internet traffic across the globe. So whether you think of yourself as a mobile company or a mobile workforce, you still are a mobile company and a mobile workforce. People want to access your data and your systems while they're on the go. And mobile users often need to access different types of data and perform different types of actions. They might not need the fully detailed flyout report on their mobile device, but they may need a way to quickly enter data. Optimizing for the mobile experience for specific use cases leads to better data integrity and real-time compliance. With data integrity, you can optimize the form and say, I only care about these particular fields, and I only want the users to be concerned with filling out this small subset of data. And then with real-time compliance, people can fill out their form, fill out their timesheet while they're still on the job, while they're still at the workplace and not waiting to get home or waiting to get back to their hotel, etc. So it keeps things more up to date for you. So our first step in building for mobile is building forms. And the key that I want to pass on to you is to be user obsessed. And here at QuickBase, we have a value, a core value that's being customer obsessed. And we want to step into the shoes of our customers when we build anything new at QuickBase. And we want to pass on the same thing to you as you build for your end users in your company, to think about how might they use this app and how can I think through what would make it easiest for them. So today's app that I'll be kind of going back and forth on is called Property Manager. No need to download it or get it from the exchange. It's just kind of a sample app for us to talk about. And you can think of it as an apartment manager who might have this app, and he has buildings, units, tenants, and then they also like to place maintenance requests either from the tenant to the manager or from the manager to the maintenance staff. So the first step on building mobile forms is simplifying the data entry. I mentioned this before, that your mobile users may not want to fill out a very complex spreadsheet or fill out a complex workflow, and really they need a few key milestones and key pieces of data to enter. So first thing we want to do is limit the amount of fields shown on the mobile forms. You can see even this form has several fields, but we like to keep it as close to one page as possible, or one screen size. Secondly, use dynamic formals to simplify what's shown in a form based on user selections. And if you haven't used dynamic formals before, what they allow you to do is hide certain aspects of the form experience for those users that they're irrelevant for. For example, if I choose this is a plumbing inspection, I'm going to hide all of the electrical maintenance to-dos and items for that. It'll only show the plumbing items. Thirdly, use checkboxes to speed up form completion. This is a tip that we got from our very own customer, Ian Gregg. He said that once he implemented checkboxes versus dropdowns, it allowed the field workers to zip through the forms even faster versus trying to open a dropdown and select the proper item. And then lastly, group fields using sections or tabs. And I've got a few examples on the next slide. So for field grouping, we have a few different options. Section headers look like this. You're probably familiar with them on the desktop version of QuickBase, but on mobile, they show up like this, where you have a bold text in between and then a box with the form fields that are kind of segregated into their own sections. If you do know about tabs, this is what they look like on mobile. They very similar to section headers, but they have a little bit of a pop of color underneath. You have a purple stripe beneath each tab, and they kind of group a little bit more opaquely. And lastly, if you have kind of some color sense, you can add colored ribbons to these tabs, and that helps break up your form visually, so that as workers go through, they'll say this is the blue section, this is all related to tenant info, the red is building, and the yellow is photos. So one thing we want to point out, it's kind of an edge case, but it's a great usability improvement for your users. Image attachments on view forms by default show up as links. You can see here on the left image.jpg, and we want them to show as thumbnails. This new functionality for thumbnails is the default when creating new file attachment fields, but existing fields may not have it set. To set it for existing file attachment fields, find this option in the field settings. It says a little checkbox in the display area that says show JPEG, PNG, and GIF files as images in forms. A few more rapid fire form tips for you. Show, save, and keep working choice is not supported on mobile. Same row is not supported on mobile. All the items go into a vertical list. And you must specify a specific record when previewing a form. So when you click the preview button that you see there in yellow, you'll have to choose a specific maintenance request for this example to preview. So once you've built out this amazing mobile form, maybe you need one form for mobile and one form for desktop or office users. And that's pretty simple with QuickBase because you can specify mobile forms. So how to do this is step one, navigate to your forms by going to settings, select your table and the forms area. Then choose the little double paper icon to copy the form you want to customize for mobile. And then step 3, set how different roles use these forms. It's a little drop down with a little black arrow that's highlighted there at the bottom of the screen. And when you click that, it actually opens up this table, and there's a column on the far right that says View, Edit, Add Form with Mobile in parentheses. And what this means is for all of your desktop users, they'll see a certain form that's defined on the left columns, and then in this right column, you can choose the mobile version of the main form. So maybe that's the copy of the form that you just made, or maybe you already have 2 forms you didn't even know that was there. So that's how you find that. So step 5 is modify that mobile form however you want. Step 6 is test. Test it on your mobile device. Get out, an iPhone or an Android and see how it actually looks, and then repeat step 5 because you probably will have changes. Building dashboards or home pages is the next thing we can do for mobile. And like forms, the most important thing to remember is to be user obsessed. The mobile dashboard layout is one of the first ways we can customize how a dashboard looks like on mobile. And for many of our mobile users, they'll actually go into the dashboard and that will be the first place that they start their day. So a great thing to have on there are buttons to add new tasks or add new sales calls or add new whatever meeting they have that day. Also searching, you can also even have a filtered list of their tasks defined by what user is assigned to each task. And so as you see on the left, this is a pretty complex dashboard. It's got many different sections and widgets, and how that ports over to the mobile layout, I'm going to show you here. So you've got section 1 on the left, 2, 3 on the top, 4, 5 in the next row, and then 6 in the last row. You can see on the right side, on mobile, it just goes straight down the list, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sidebar first, and then the top sections going down. So the key tip here is to place your most important widgets in the top row or the sidebar. Another thing you can optimize for dashboards is changing the dashboard name. So by default, it says default dashboard. And that obviously doesn't give the user any information about what this dashboard is for or what they can do here. So you might consider changing this to like employee dashboard, manager dashboard, contractor dashboard, etc., or whatever makes sense to your users. A few more dashboard tips. Some report types will display as links to open a separate view, including tables, maps, Kanban, and calendar. And while on the desktop, they'll show right in the page. On mobile, you'll see this little rectangle, and clicking that will actually open up the report in a separate page. Dynamic series filters for line and bar charts don't display on mobile. And some report types are not supported at all yet in the mobile view. For example, summary and timeline. So the key tip here is to use supported report types only for critical mobile information. So now you might ask, if I have a desktop dashboard, can I show a different dashboard with only those report types to mobile? The way we'd like you to do that is to consider designating specific home pages for roles who primarily access QuickBase on their mobile device. So you see here, I've got a home page called Mobile Contractor Home, and that's specified for the mobile contractor role. To do this, you'll go into your table settings or your app settings and then roles, and then choose the role that you want to customize, and then look at the user interface tab, and there's a section called Role Homepage where you can choose whatever homepage you want them to see. Now, the third major thing you can customize for mobile is building reports. One of them, the most popular, being the table report. So you guessed it, the same tip applies here. Be user obsessed. Think about what data mobile users might want to see in the table report and how to bring it front and center so that they can see it right away. So like dashboards, there's a kind of translation layer that happens from the desktop to the mobile side. So you can see here on the left, we have columns 1, 2, 3, and plus more. And you'll see on the right side, they kind of go side by side, 1, 2, 3, and then there's a plus more link that actually expands. And that plus more shows you the remaining fields that are down here under the first 3. Now we've had a lot of feedback saying, hey, 3 fields is not enough. I need to display more data front and center to my users. And the idea we have for you guys today to suggest is creating a summary field or a formula text field to create a summary of that data. So to do that, you can create a new formula text field, and this particular formula summarizes or concatenates request date, building name, and type all into one field that then displays as the top row in each of the records in the table report. Now, similarly to the view forms, thumbnails also have a little bit of a trick to them to work on table reports on mobile. They don't display by default, and so if you like to have that functionality, you need to make a new field, again, a formula-rich text, and then I've pasted a formula that you can copy later in the presentation. I'll send this out to you guys. But you can copy this and replace image with your file attachment field, and then replace these other elements to whatever you would like them to be, and then display this new field on the table report instead of the actual file attachment field. Now note, this table report will take longer to load because it loads all of these images from the server, but in many cases that is a sacrifice that people are willing to make to allow people to quickly identify the records that they need to click. Now a few more table report tips, rapid fire. Summary table view on table reports doesn't display on mobile. That's these two checkboxes hidden down there in the yellow highlight. Button URL formulas do not display on table reports. And you should avoid table reports that rely heavily on dynamic filters because those don't appear on mobile. Now, this is not related to table reports, but this is kind of a quick tip for anybody building a new QuickBase app. It's record titles. So one thing you want to do is ensure the record titles make sense to your users. They may not know or care what the record ID number is. So for example, in this scenario with the property manager, he has many different units. They each have a unit number, but this unit number 47 is really just the record ID. It's not actually the number that their tenants or their maintenance workers actually know. So we want to change that to unit 41, which represents the actual house number on the apartment. How do we do that? We open up settings, we go to the advanced section, and then we look at advanced table settings to choose the record title. You see the default is the key field, currently record ID, or you can choose the second bullet, and there's a drop down of all your other fields to figure out what you want to represent the record as the title. Now, a little bit of an edge case, a little bit of a deeper piece of knowledge for QuickBase builders is embedded reports. And what this means is reports that show up inside a view record form or inside a new record form. Down there on the left side, you can see maintenance request. That's the embedded report of maintenance request for the tenants table. And so when you click on that maintenance request button, it opens up a second screen that says embedded for tenants. And that's the default title of the embedded report. But the question is, what is being embedded? You might want to change that name and perhaps to the name of the table that it's on or something else that makes sense to your users. We're going to change that to maintenance request to let them know this is the table that represents the maintenance request from their tenant. And how we do that is from the child table, aka the maintenance request table in this scenario. You can go to the reports and charts section in the settings area, and it'll show all of the embedded versions of that report, embedded for buildings, embedded for units, etc. And you can click each one of those and change the name to something that makes sense for that use case or that workflow. Another thing for embedded reports, changing the report columns. So an important note is that embedded reports don't automatically inherit the default columns. So you actually have to go into the embedded report, similar to how I showed you on the previous slide. And you can either click default columns, which is the radio button on the left, or you can click custom columns and set those to the default and then start making changes. We basically just want to remind you to make sure those columns are configured the way you want for your users in their workflow. So next, we want to talk about what's new with mobile. We're really excited. We've been working very hard to announce these new features, and we would love to hear your feedback. So the first thing we want to announce is mobile preview. And if you haven't heard of mobile preview, we announced it last fall, but it allows you to preview what your mobile users see on any report, form, or dashboard. So back, if you remember, I said you want to create your mobile form, test it, create, test, repeat, repeat. This is a much quicker way to go through that testing process. You don't have to use F12 like we may have showed you last in Power. There's no complicated dev tools. You just click a button and you'll see a little mobile phone. And if you navigate anywhere in main QuickBase, it'll change the phone's display to whatever that page looks like on mobile. We have small, medium, and large devices available, and you can change the orientation from portrait to landscape and back. So how to set up mobile preview is actually part of the test as flow. So if you open up the top right menu, we click on your name, you'll see a section that says test this app as, in either a role or a user. So if you go into that section and you choose a role or a user, if you're not familiar with this, you can test your app as a particular role, for example, participant, admin, mobile contractor, or you can actually click a user and say, I want to test this app as John Smith and see what he sees. So once you do that, you'll also be shown a new little mobile phone icon in the right side of your header bar of your report. And when you click on that, it'll slide out the mobile phone from the right side and you'll be able to test all of your changes on mobile devices. The next feature we're excited to talk about is barcode scanning. Now, many of you tried this out last year at Empower with the scavenger hunt, and we had such great feedback that we kind of went back to the drawing board and fixed a lot of the bugs and functionality for this and made it extremely easy to use anywhere in the QuickBase app, on any text field, on any search field. And just a reminder, it's only in the mobile app, so it won't be there on Safari or Chrome in the browser. It'll only be if you download the QuickBase app. And then lastly, we want to announce the newest feature in our lineup, which is called Mobile Offline. So what is Mobile Offline? It's the ability to access the QuickBase mobile app while you're offline, and the ability to add new records in specified apps even without an internet connection. And we're launching this today. Now, Mobile Offline is a platform-only feature, and you'll have to contact your account admin or a QuickBase account team to upgrade. And I'm sure you will after the demo I show you in a few minutes. So what's supported offline? Offline is a big rock to fill for us at QuickBase, and so we've started with the main meat of what we believe people want to do offline, which is adding data and data entry. So you'll see my illustration on the right side in kind of 3 different tiers. We're starting with this central chunk, add data, and allows you to navigate around the app and add forms, or use add forms. And then the next piece will be viewing data, for example, reports, charts, and edit forms. And the third ring will be calculating data with formulas, form rules, and other automations. So if you see on the left, what's supported currently with the release of offline today, so creating new records through add forms. And we support all the scalar fields that you know and love, any kind of field that doesn't involve a calculation. We also support parent record pickers and conditional dropdowns, in addition to cross-app relationship pickers. What's not supported? Currently, what's not supported is viewing reports or dashboards, looking at forms with dynamic form rules, or calculating lookup or formula fields on the fly. And when you have a formula field or other calculated field on your form, it'll just show up as not available offline in the form, but you'll still be able to add the record. It just won't show you that real-time calculation. So how do we set this up? If you are a platform account already, you can get going on this even while I'm speaking in the presentation. But if you visit the admin console and click on the apps link on the far left, you can choose any of your apps by checkbox, and then a new button will appear called Enable Mobile Offline. And you can click that button, and we've enabled you to access offline forms for up to 20 apps in your realm. See me after the session if you have any questions about how to set this part up. There's a second step for mobile offline, which is done by the end users of your application. So anybody who's downloaded the QuickBase mobile app will have a second step to do to actually download the form to their particular device. So what they'll do is they'll open up the settings menu in the mobile app. They'll visit the Choose Offline Apps link on the left side, and that will open up the screen on the right side where it will have the apps that you as a builder have enabled for offline, and it'll have those at the top and with a toggle on the right side saying, yes, I want this one on my phone, I want this one, I want this one, and then others will be at the list at the bottom where maybe they don't need to use those offline. They're mainly Office apps. So you'll click this toggle and it'll re-download that app. It'll give you the offline forms that you need, the records that you need to choose from when you're connecting children records to parent records, and all the data you'll need to simplify data entry offline. And if you see on the left, we also have another feature called Force Offline Mode. For those of you that go in and out of connection throughout the day, Force Offline Mode is a way to kind of keep your context, and you click that at the beginning of the day or the beginning of the call, and then you can add as many records as you want, and then you have control over when you want to go back to online mode, and those records will be uploaded. So I have a quick demo for you guys, and I can show you what offline mobile is all about. So you see here, this is the QuickBase mobile app, and if you haven't ever visited, this is what the My App screen looks like. You'll see that I have 4 apps here: Property Manager, tower inspections, hotels in Cambridge, and mobile app reviews. And so all of your apps will show up here, whether they're offline enabled or not. And we're going to look into the Property Manager app to kind of see some of the concepts I was talking to you about earlier. So this is a great example of a mobile dashboard. It's simple, it's clean. It gives the mobile workforce one button at the top to create a new maintenance request, and has the tables that we mentioned before: buildings, units, tenants, and maintenance requests. So if you have all these apps, how do we get one to download offline? Again, we go to the Choose Offline App screen, and you'll see 3 of my apps, Property Manager, Tower Inspections, and Hotels in Cambridge, are available to be downloaded, whereas mobile app reviews are not. So if I go in here, I'll toggle on Property Manager, and while I'm here, I'll also toggle on Tower Inspections. I'll need both of those while I'm doing my day-to-day work offline. And if you see another blue text here at the top, it's actually downloading the latest version. So if you click that, you can refresh the forms and the data. So if you've downloaded one, these apps will show a new little icon, a green icon that says, this is downloaded. And if you pull to refresh on the screen, your apps will download again, and you'll get a little notification that says your apps have finished downloading. So next, I'm going to actually click over here and change my network connectivity and go offline. You'll see a pop-down shows up that says no internet connection at the top. And then my apps list actually separates into 2 different sections. The ones that I've enabled and downloaded for offline are at the top, and the ones that are not available offline, whether because the builder hasn't enabled it or I haven't downloaded it, those show up in the second list at the bottom. So let's open up Property Manager. And you'll see here, it's not the same old QuickBase, it's actually a new offline experience that we've built. We're calling this the offline dashboard. It still has your same tables: buildings, units, tenants, and maintenance requests, and there's add buttons for each, but it does say you're in offline mode. You can still add records, and we'll upload them once you're back online. So let's open the form. And you'll see this even has a new styling to it, because this is a specifically built offline form that's built from the data that you've created as a builder in your form. So let's start filling this out. So I'm going to create a maintenance request for June 15th, 2020, and I'm going to select a tenant here. And you'll see all the tenants from my application are available, even though I'm not connected to the internet. I'm going to choose their unit. They're in 102 One Back Bay, and I can actually add photos here. They've got a bit of a plumbing problem, so let me add a photo that I took earlier, some pipes leaking. I'm going to say they've got a plumbing issue in my notes. I'm going to say a minor leak in PVC pipe. And as I go down here, there's another item for status. I'm going to say this is not started, and it's not closed yet, so I'm going to leave that blank, and I'm going to save in new. And what you'll see here is a new maintenance request has been added, and then down at the bottom, there's a queue section that has a little red icon that says 1. And what that queue represents is any pending records that you've created while you're offline and are going to later be uploaded when you reconnect. So I'm going to go ahead and add a second one, so we'll have a 2 down there. You can see what that looks like. This fellow lives in unit number 11. He's also got a plumbing leak. So his is a little bit worse. It's kind of blowing out from all sides. This is plumbing 2. And I'm going to add a note to this one too. Major leak in copper pipes. I'm going to choose the status. This is in progress because I've already started looking at it. And I'm going to save that, and I'll see the similar notification: a new maintenance request has been added. This number will be updated to 2 on my queue. And I'll also see a little gray bubble next to the maintenance request table that says 2. So when I click on that, it'll actually open up my queue with my apps listed down vertically. You see Property Manager with 2 records that are waiting to be uploaded. And these 2 records have the status of pending. I can actually open them up and test them out, and if I need to change anything before I go back online, I can do that. Or if I swipe, I can either edit or delete that record completely, and it won't go back to the server when I reconnect. So let me go back to my apps real quick, and I'm actually going to reconnect my internet connection. I'll show you one more thing. If you go to the More menu, you can always access the queue again by clicking View Offline Upload Status. So let me change my network connection back to on, and it'll be quick, but you'll see at the bottom a little progress bar that shows how the records are uploading, and then a notification that says 2 records were uploaded. And it's very quick. So if you're not watching for it, you may not even know, but one way you can check is you go to your offline queue, and it'll say all good, no records are waiting to be uploaded. You got your happy cloud. So let's actually prove that this works. So let's open up the Property Manager app, go to the maintenance request table. You'll see there's my 2 records right at the top. And they have the building and the tenant and the phone number, and there's the 2 photos of the pipe busting out. You can see the plumbing, the note and the in progress, and it was created by me at this time. And it looks just like any other record, and you wouldn't even know that it was created offline without an internet connection. So here's the second one, and it also gets all the data, and it works properly. So lastly, wanted to ask for any of your feedback as you start working on this offline phase of mobile QuickBase, and let us know if you have any problems enabling apps or downloading them or figuring out how to make an offline use case for your workforce. We'd love to help. So last part of our time together here is going to be looking at the mobile future. And people are always excited about when is their future coming, and there'll be some good news for some and some bad news for others, where we always have to make trade-offs and prioritize different features over others, but we're very excited about our roadmap and what's coming in the future. So phase 1 we're calling the foundation, and that includes modernizing our UI so that like table reports, dashboards, charts, anything that kind of feels like it could use a refresh or an update, we're going to look at redoing that code and making it a very quality user experience. Then we're going to look at mobile dashboards in the middle there and let you create similar to forms. This is a dashboard for my desktop site or my desktop user, and this is a dashboard for my mobile user, and change which widgets show up on each. And then the third tier is we're going to continue the work on offline and allow report and chart access. Second, we're going to look into an expansion phase. And what we call that, or the reason we call it that, is we're going to add net new features that only exist on mobile. We're going to add fields like signature capture, lat long capture for geolocation, and then we're going to amplify our push notification system so you can actually notify your end users when important data is changed or updated. In phase 3, we're going to build a customized QuickBase app. And what that means is allowing you control over screen-by-screen workflows and custom branding, and helping you make an even more bespoke mobile solution for your company. So lastly, I have a plug here. Download the mobile app if you haven't yet, and leave us a review. We're really excited about all the changes we've been making, and we hope to have you enjoy that and share it with the App Store. And again, a reminder, review this session. The link will be posted in the chat. I'd love to hear any feedback that you have for me as a presenter or as feedback for the content. And then obviously, last, we would like to open up Q&A. So I will be looking through the chat with my colleagues, and we will answer any questions as they come up.